Here we go. We live. Another night of Casket ready. You got myself here, Real Estate Rod, and then we got
Tawana. I don't have a nickname like Rashidi and K, but Tawana is here, your credit specialist.
not yet. We coming up one soon. We coming up one soon. So hopefully everybody's doing good tonight. So what's the topic tonight?
Topic tonight. Let's see. Pay now or pay later. So our topic is talking about GoFundMe, right?
Okay.
And how we probably shouldn't have to do GoFundMe pages, pretty
Mm-hmm.
much, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's it for now. So how we gonna lead into this conversation, Ryan?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where, like you said, just talking about we shouldn't have to be using the GoFundMe, should I say, when someone passes. I'd always say backwards every time. I don't know why. But
Mm-hmm.
no, we shouldn't have to do that. At the end of the day, when somebody passes away, we should be able to have enough money to bury them,
Right.
you know?
Right.
And it's one of those things where we don't talk about it enough,
Mm-hmm.
and it's easy to prepare. Because
Mm-hmm.
remember, it's affordable. And a
Right.
lot of people just don't have the conversation of how much it actually costs to bury people.
Right.
So let's talk about that. So the average cost of funerals is from $7,000 to $20,000.
Right.
So at the end of the day, who on a normal basis got 7 or 20K just laying around just to bury somebody real
Not. I don't know
quick?
honestly, because with us being in finances, we come across people who don't even have $1,000 saved up for an emergency fund.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Funerals and that type of thing is probably the furthest thing from their mind because everybody is in the
Mm-hmm.
mindset like, okay, we're gonna live forever. Or we have more time.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's saying, oh, we have more time. We have good health. We don't have no health issues or anything like that. Or if we
Mm-hmm.
have any type of health issues, we have medicine to maintain it. So
Exactly.
nobody's thinking about dying tomorrow. Nobody's thinking
Exactly.
about walking out their door, going to work, and something can tragically happen.
Exactly. And imagine somebody dying 2 weeks before rent's due or your mortgage due.
Whoa.
Yeah, and think about it. If the average funeral costs 7 to 20,000, and just to cremate somebody, burn your body and put it into ashes, not to sound rough, it's like $8,000.
Right.
So imagine that scenario, and imagine you don't have a large family. Especially these days, the families are smaller and they're
Mm-hmm.
more tight knit.
Right.
So imagine you're only really cool with a couple aunts and uncles. Now other people are gonna show up,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but you're only really tight with 5 or 6 family members, and now you guys got to split the cost, and you only got $56 in your checking account.
Yeah, that's not good,
Mm-hmm.
and which is why we're speaking about it.
Mm-hmm.
So going into the next step is the importance of planning
Mm-hmm.
and not being prideful about it or not thinking about this conversation being something that you just don't want to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
So planning is the proper thing to do. You want to make sure that you have these things in order, have these things in line so you don't have to stress or worry about making sure that you don't have to do a GoFundMe page or you have don't have to borrow money from family
Mm-hmm.
members to help bury your loved ones.
Mm-hmm. And imagine that you have to borrow money to bury your own mother or your own father.
Mm,
Now, how does that look? It doesn't look great.
it doesn't. It doesn't at all.
And you think about it logically, it's like they took care of you your whole life, and you can't afford to bury them. And not alleviating the pressure off of them too, because listen, our parents need to be having these policies too. They got to
Exactly.
have their own life insurance policy.
Exactly.
But if my mother and father is 75, 80 years old, and they took care of me up until 18, 19, and gave me a little money here and there, or bailed me out here and there throughout
Mm-hmm.
the course of life,
Right.
and now I can't bail them out, that's a
Mm.
little crazy.
It is. It is. And that's why it's important that we have these type of conversations with our family members, like knowing going over the policies. Some may have policies from way back when, but let's
Mm-hmm.
go over those policies. Let's see what their policy, the coverage amount that they have on their policy. Let's talk about, is it a whole policy? Is it a short term policy?
Mm-hmm.
Um, Prime example, I had a conversation with a young lady in my building, and it was just asking general questions, and I asked her, "Do you have a life insurance policy?"
Mm-hmm.
She's like, oh yeah, I'm retired from the state. I have a life insurance policy. So I was like, oh okay, is it a whole policy? How many years? Do you know what the coverage is? And she's like, I don't know. I said, well, do you know the name of the insurance company that it's with? She's like, I'm not sure. And I'm like, okay, no worries, no problem. I was like, well, I like to ask these questions because not only are you seeing me for other services, this is another service that we offer, and we like to just make sure that, it's about education. It's about educating and making sure that people are aware. And I said, well, whoever you have as your beneficiary, do they know where your policy is? And she's like, no. I said, okay, so this is something that you need to have in order. So I'm telling her, I'm like, listen, go through your papers, find out if, because she said, I guess the type of policy she had, the state paid it off, like they paid for it. Oh, wow. So it was part of her retirement package. Oh, okay. I'm not sure how that goes. You may know more about that, but
like 503B.
Something like that. So I'm like, you want to know how much it is. You want to make sure that whoever's the beneficiary on it knows where these records are, because if something happens to you unexpectedly, they don't even have the name of if they can't even find your papers, at least know the name of the insurance company that it's with. So something as simple as those type of conversations is something that you should be having with your family members, your mom, your dad, your grandparents. If you have aunties and uncles that you're taking care of and they're older, like, these are the conversations you need to have. Everybody needs to know where these things are and making sure that they have enough coverage for it. If they don't have enough coverage, then let's talk about what else we can do. Like you said, the average burial is about $7,000 minimum. So
no, that's a good point. And the point is that it's more than one conversation.
Right.
And so it's not even just getting the policy, but to your point, having those conversations like, hey, who is the beneficiary? What insurance company is it? Where you keeping that paperwork?
Right.
Who has access to that information? Is it just one person on the policy that you're leaving it for? What if something happens to that person? Like, it's a deeper conversation, but imagine you don't even have the first conversation.
Right.
To even get to those other parts of it. So even in that situation, that person would have ended up passing away, and the person would have got the money because they didn't even know they were the beneficiary. So they didn't know they have the money coming from. And all the insurance company has to do is legally send out a letter to the known address, or whatever information you left. And if you don't claim it, you don't get it. Right. But if you don't know, you don't get it because you didn't know. It's like having a mystery lottery ticket sitting on your desk and you don't even know, literally.
Knowing that you have access to this.
Exactly.
It's not cool. So the importance of having these conversations, not only for you but your kids too, letting them know, especially if they're the young age of 18, that even as teenagers, this is something that you should have a conversation with them about, right? It's the knowledge, and being aware, right?
No, absolutely. And it's one of those things where it's affordable. You know what I mean? Even if you just get a term policy, which, term policy, what it says is a term. It's from 10 to 20, 30 years, some even up to 40 years. So even if you have one of those, they're super affordable. They typically range from like $30 to $70. And health plays a role in it too. But that's super affordable.
Right.
I mean, we spend $30 going to McDonald's these days.
Listen, I can spend easily $30 in probably 2 days at Dunkin' Donuts going to work in the morning.
Exactly.
Right.
How many $6 meal special Dunkin' Donuts specials or McDonald's specials that is if you go 3-4 times a week? That's a policy right there.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So it's definitely affordable, and a lot of people don't realize how affordable it is and so much coverage. And let's think about that. At the end of the day, imagine paying $40 a month for a policy, and you get $500,000 worth of coverage. So God forbid, if you got a policy in week 1 and 2 weeks pass by and God forbid somebody passed away, you passed away on the policy, you paid $40 and your beneficiary is getting $499,060. That's insane.
Right.
And you paid $40.
Right. Well, Rob, with all of this being said, why do you think that people don't have life insurance policies, and why do you see so many GoFundMe links and information going out there? Why do you think that happens?
Why? Because the conversation always goes every time as a life insurance agent I talk to somebody. I got it with my job. That's why.
True.
You know.
True.
But the real reason behind that is a defense mechanism. Is because nobody wants to talk about death.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody wants to talk about dying. But let's be honest, it's the inevitable.
Right.
Nobody's living forever.
That's true.
Jesus even died. Like, if we're being honest, no one's living forever.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just having that uncomfortable conversation a few times, and it'll help out. And just looking around, if we're struggling while we're alive and paycheck to paycheck, would you want to leave that burden on somebody else? Would you want to leave somebody a $15,000, $20,000 bill? That's a little selfish, if you ask me.
True. And we know finances is one of the biggest things that people stress about. Money, finances. Another thing that we don't want the misconception of is thinking that you're too young. So let's talk about our young adults, right? Don't think that you're too young to get a life insurance policy, right? At the tender age of
2 weeks old.
2 weeks old, you should have a life insurance policy. I mean, even way back when, even if you don't know, remember back in the days, those things used to get in the mail. I think it's like a Gerber life insurance policy. Like, even if you started off with something like that right there was introducing you to. I remember I used to get them all the time and used to throw them away. It's like, what is this? Like, what is this? Like, when I had my son, I had a life insurance policy on him. I don't think I got one on him until he was like older. Like, I knew I should have one on me, but never thought about he should have one on him, right? And speaking to him about the importance of it, but just don't have the misconception of you're being too young to have a life insurance policy. Don't think because your baby is just born that you shouldn't have a life insurance policy on them.
You know what's crazy though? That was like the best marketing back in the day. Like the Gerber life insurance, like all I'm picturing right now is that little baby in black and white with no hair and a little applesauce bottle. But it got people to buy life insurance, prepare for kids for life insurance down the line and finances. But to your point though, like we could change the title from pay now or pay later for a young person, pay now, get rich later. Because that's what would happen. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Remember one of the last episodes we did, we talked about how a kid getting a policy at 7 years old for $250 a month, by the time they were retirement age, they'd walk away with, I think it was like $1.4 million.
Yeah.
For $250 a month.
Yep.
Now, let's think about what bills do we pay for $250 a month? Nothing. Because last time I checked, my car payment is like $500 a month. Cable, you know what I mean? I got Verizon. They like $120 a month just for Verizon. My cell phone bill, got the little family plan, my son on my plan, all that type of stuff. That bill's about $200 a month.
Right.
I mean, let's be honest. Groceries about $600 a month. You know what I mean?
Right.
Going to McDonald's. Well, I don't go to McDonald's like that, but there's a lot of families out there that go to McDonald's. That's like $200-$300 a month. And you trying to tell me we can't put that away? Imagine a kid walking away with $1.4 million for $250 a month.
Wow.
That's insane. And they can pull out cash before that. That's insane.
Wow. Definitely. So it's definitely not thinking that you're too young. Don't think that you should wait till later because tomorrow is not promised. And it's the mindset. Let's talk about the cultural mindset of waiting until it's too late. We have to change our mindset. You know, unfortunately, certain cultures think that, okay, we shouldn't get it now, or we need to get it when we get older. But it can be a cultural mindset, the lack of knowledge, the lack of education.
Absolutely.
Speaking on it. So,
I mean, yeah, from a cultural standpoint, we think about just living day to day, and why would I leave somebody such a large sum of money, and what's the benefit, and why would I pay into my debt? Like, and that's part of the mindset. But the truth is, why wouldn't you pay into debt? You know what I mean?
Right.
Debt is an investment. Why? Because we know it's going to happen.
Right.
Like, let's think about this.
Mm-hmm.
If we compare it to sports, if we knew that LeBron James is going to be who he's going to be, you don't think we've been betting on it all this time? But we know about death, but we don't bet on death.
It's true.
Your death is an investment. I know that sounds crazy.
It does sound crazy, and it does sound like, okay, so, I had a conversation with somebody, and it was like, I'm not letting nobody get no life insurance policy on me, like, so they can get all this money. I die and get all this money. And I'm like, why do you think of it as that way? Like, don't think of it that way, especially if you put your children as the beneficiary, right? Think of it as you leaving something for them. You're covering your death benefit so they won't have to worry about it. And then even think about small families, like, like me. I'm an only child. My mom, I'm an only child. My son is an only child. So you think about that. I have no sibling. I have brothers, distant brothers. My son has no siblings, right? So it's like, why would I put that burden on my son?
And trust me, I would look at you funny as a mother. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Yeah.
If you didn't leave me anything, I'd be like, it was only me, and you ain't leave me nothing.
Exactly.
You ain't leave me nothing.
Exactly.
And it's the sad truth. And like I always say, don't leave people with just memories. Leave them with some money.
Right.
And at the end of the day, why wouldn't you want to put them in a better position that you were in?
Right.
And it was super affordable, so they can better their lives and their kids' lives, or their loved ones, or the remaining loved ones that you left behind.
Right.
What other gift would be great to be at a funeral and it's like, I'm gonna miss you, Uncle, but I really love you, Uncle. Thanks for that $50,000 check you left me. What other better gift? Listen, I'll be up there on the top of the funeral. He's been the best uncle in the world. I love him to death. Like, they couldn't take me off that stand. He done made me a millionaire. He done left me a lot of money. He done paid for my college. He paid for my car. All that type of stuff. Why wouldn't you want that, to leave that to somebody you love?
Right. Exactly. So let's talk about how GoFundMe really raises enough money for a full funeral expense. So let's think about it. I'm not really sure how GoFundMe works. Like, once it's cashed out, is there like a delay in you actually getting the money? I don't really know.
No, it's
how that works.
So the thing is, there's no real I don't be in comments. So yeah, I don't know if there's any real delay per se. What I will say though is that, regardless to what, with the life insurance policy, you get paid out immediately. So it's one of those things where they just have to confirm the death. You send in a death certificate, they verify it, you get checked.
Right.
It's fairly simple. Within a week, everybody paid. GoMe fund, you gotta wait, you gotta build it up, you gotta wait till, and that's a longer time that the body's on ice.
Well, not
say like that.
And not only that, it's like, okay, so I don't know if you've helped a family member like set up for a funeral. When you go to a funeral home, and this is just from me hearing like other family members and what they had to go through or whatever, and I'm not too sure, but like, when you go to the funeral, I guess I'm pretty sure that's the first thing they ask is their life insurance policy, because they want to know that
how they getting paid.
So they will go ahead and prep, and knowing that you have that life insurance policy, they know that money is coming to them. So everything is gonna go ahead and get set and put forth and in order. But how does it work with the GoFundMe?
It doesn't work. It's just one of those things. Whenever you get cashed out, you can use the money. The difference is the life insurance. To your point, at the funeral home, you have the check. There is no guessing. You have the money. Hey, okay, it's going to be $5,000 for the tombstone. Boom, that's it. Boom, paid, done. You know what I mean? With the GoMe fund and other sources, it's, you got to work out payment plans. You got to work out, negotiate deals. What you want to negotiate, but do you really want to worry about negotiating payments on a death instead of worrying about grieving and celebrating that person's life?
Right.
In all seriousness, like, you weren't even talking about, man, it's my grandmother. I love her, but I can't afford the tombstone. Can you cut me a deal? Like, do you really want to have those conversations? No.
No,
and
not at all.
To your point, the reason why GoMe funds are not enough.
GoFundMe, Rob.
GoFundMe. I'm gonna get it right one of these days. One of these days I'm gonna get it right. But the reason why it's different is because, remember, with the GoMe fund, I said it right.
GoFundMe.
All right. Okay.
Y'all, help me out. You can't even say it right.
Well, with those, it's a rush situation. So you're trying to gather as much money as possible, and it's a waiting game. You watch it, the meter ticker. Versus if you have a life insurance policy, things are in place because there's a lot of things go into burying people, not just throwing them in the dirt. It's a reason why you see a lot of funeral burials where there's not a lot of tombstones.
Right.
You got to pay for the tombstone. You got to pay for the casket.
Right.
You got to pay for the funeral home.
Right.
You got to pay for the limo service. Like, these are all things you got to pay for. And if you're looking at a GoFundMe, you know what I mean? I got it right? I got it right? All right, there we go. There we go. If you're looking for one of those, you got to wait till the money builds up so you already have all that anxiety and you're preparing for death. And also, you got to think about it. Even on a simple level on a funeral, how many times have we went to a funeral where we go out to eat and everybody looking around how much who's putting in on a pot? If you had an insurance policy and you had 30, 40 grand to dump on a death, everybody's eating. You could all celebrate their life in peace.
Right.
Everybody could jump in the limo.
Right.
You know what I mean? All the food's taken care of.
Right.
Travel, flights, hotels, rental cars.
Right.
These are things that people never think about. And also think about it. When it comes to life insurance, because of this, these are reasons why people don't come to funerals. While someone you wanted to see for a last time, you couldn't see him because you didn't have the money to go. And all you could do is what? Put money in the Go Me Fund.
Go Me Fund. He said it again, Kay. Let's go to the comments. So Judy said, the conversation is very unsettling for some family members. Unfortunately, no one wants to discuss death and final goodbyes. Family planning is not impossible. Just put away a little at a time. It does add up in the end. And that's correct. Hey, Auntie Judy. Yes, definitely. Thank you for your comment. And it's true. It's true. It's something that you don't want to talk about, but it's something that you should. I mean, it's the reality. It's the reality of things. She also said, Jesus died, but he rose again. Yes, he did.
Let's see another comment on the bottom.
Yes. I'll let you read that.
You know I can't say. I got these glasses on. Go ahead and read that for me.
Onisha
What's going on,
says, hey, yes, planning for death is very traumatic yet necessary. All of our numbers will be called one day. And like the Bible says, we don't know the day or the hour. It's a hurtful conversation, but necessary. Absolutely. And it's true. It's definitely true. It's a very uncomfortable conversation, but imagine if you don't have the conversation.
Just not knowing.
Right.
Like, not knowing. And, you know, and it's just important. You know, like I said, the topic is pay now or later. You're paying one way or the other.
Right.
If you don't pay now, you're paying later with emotions. You're paying later with regrets. How many times people say, I wish I would have. I wish I could have. I wish I did. You know what I mean? How many times in these situations people look at the situations like, man, if I would have done something else, it would have been a different result.
Right.
And I'll give a quick example because I know we're coming up on time. I had somebody that, you know, grew up with whatever the case was, and you know, who's getting his life together, had his family, had a couple kids, all that type of stuff, got his first little real grown man job, and life was life, and it was good. And he kept telling him, get a policy. And he did. And he kept saying, I'm gonna get it when I get everything together. I'm gonna get everything together. And he did get everything together. But unfortunately, he called me one day and was like, hey, I got cancer. And I was like, damn, bro. And he asked me, he's like, hey, is there anything I could do now with the policy? I was like, nah, it's nothing to do now because you got cancer.
Right.
And what ended up happening was he ended up passing and new house and new kids. And they didn't have anything but whatever Go Me Fund and what family could help out. And now he left the whole legacy behind with kids and family with nothing to give him. And it wasn't on purpose. He was a great guy. But that's what normally happens.
Yes. Thinking that you have time. Onisha said, leaving grieving family to pick up the pieces takes a great amount of strength. It's hard on family. And that's true. And not even, like you said, emotional. And agreeing with Onisha, it's expensive at the end too, right? Because now you're scrambling out of your pocket to pay for the funeral. So when you don't do it now, you do pay more later. Think about it. You're making small payments a month or quarterly, or you can pay for the year on a life insurance policy. that's affordable.
Mm-hmm.
So whereas now you didn't pay for one, now the death happened, you have to pay more for it because you're coming out your pocket now,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it is more expensive later down the line. So it's which is the reason why we do this every Monday, talking about casket ready
Mm-hmm.
and what it means to be casket ready.
Mm-hmm.
Having the right type of life insurance policy, having something that you can afford with the
Mm-hmm.
different type of policies that you can get.
Mm-hmm.
There's policies that's term, final expense,
Mm-hmm.
IULs. These are just a couple of things, policies that you can put in place. So, Rod, do you want to touch on a little bit of like the different types of policies?
Yeah, so we'll sum it up real quick. I mean, a term policy again is from 10 to 30 years in most cases. They're super affordable because they're from 10 to 30 years. Then you have a whole life policy, which will last your entire life.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have what's called an IUL, which is an Index Universal Life Policy.
Mm-hmm.
So with this policy, it's a hybrid policy. So
Right.
you build cash like the whole life. So you pull cash on the policy,
Mm-hmm.
but you get both the cash and the death benefit. So, for example, if you get $300,000 worth of coverage, and you accumulated $100,000 worth of cash,
Mm-hmm.
you now have $400,000 if something were to happen to you.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you want to pull that $100,000, you could.
Right.
Then you got the final expense policy, which the final expense policy is pretty much if you're either too old or you're not healthy enough and you don't want to go through medical exams, you just need something to bury you at the very minimum.
Yes.
Those policy ranges, like 20,000, 25,000 worth of coverage just to bury you,
Mm-hmm.
and it's an affordable amount, a little bit pricier but affordable, and they only cost about 50, 70, $80 a
Mm-hmm.
month to get them, but at least you get to bury somebody. Because if you don't got 20 grand laying around, $70 a month don't look too bad,
Right.
So those are the different types of policies at the end of the day.
That's good. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
So, just to kind of tie it up and to end the live, just a final message. Your family shouldn't have to post a link for you, but they should be posting your legacy.
I like that.
Right.
I like that.
So it's very important to have these conversations. It's very important to discuss it with to me, teenagers is not too young to talk to them about it. They may not want to hear it, but it's a discussion that you should have. When you think about, I don't know if families do this, but sitting down having dinner together
Mm-hmm.
instead of everybody going to separate rooms and watching TV while having dinner. Maybe do like a family dinner once a month or something, and have
Mm-hmm.
these type of conversations. Talk to your kids about it.
Mm-hmm.
Sit, break bread, and have these conversations. Talk about finances. And us as adults and parents, sometimes when we're struggling, our kids don't know because we want to keep that to ourselves, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
if we're working hard, explain to them the importance of it. Explain to them the importance of having good credit, the importance of savings and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
These are the conversations you want to have
Absolutely.
at the end of the day.
Absolutely. And the last thing I'll say, just shout out to everybody that participated tonight, came on. Anisha, Leticia, Penny, Judy, we appreciate y'all comments. And anybody on the replay, comment, like, post, share, do everything. And of course, at the bottom of the screen, you see it scrolling. Just read it real quick. www.legacybuildersus.com. So at least go to the site, book an appointment so we can get you a quote so you can see how affordable and how obtainable one of these policies are. So if you're curious, if you don't know what kind of policy you have, if you only have insurance with your job, go to our site, and we'll help you out and we'll look at your policy and help you get one of these. So that's about it. We're gonna wrap it up. I will say I don't like how these seats look because it makes it look like you're taller than me, but you're really not.
I think it's because I'm sitting up.
Maybe that's what it is. I'm like, why I look so short?
You do look shorter than me. I don't
What's
know what
going
that's
on right
about.
now?
Because like Leticia said, the ladies of legacy is coming soon. Y'all see that comment up there? Yes, Leticia, we are coming. We're gonna be on this panel. The men is gonna sit to the side, and we gonna do our thing. We're gonna discuss it, right?
Too funny.
But yeah, thank you so much. Thank you guys for tuning in. Remember, every Monday at 7:00. Next week we will not be on because of Thanksgiving week. So we know everybody is preparing for Thanksgiving. It's a short week for everybody getting stuff together. People who don't have to work Thursday and Friday. But stay tuned to all our social media platforms. We're on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok,
Mm-hmm.
Facebook group, private group, and we have a Legacy Builders Facebook business page. So check us out.
Yeah, we everywhere. We everywhere. So everybody, definitely have a good night. Again, reach out to us.
All right. Have
All
a good
right.
night, everyone.